Welcome you to the August meeting of the Trussville Board of Education. This time I'll ask Kim DeShazo to lead us in prayer and the pledge. Mr. DeShazo.
Lord, thank you for the opportunity to be here today to conduct the business of the schools and the school board. I just thank you for Trussville City Schools. Thank you for the success our school system has experienced, and I just pray that your hand will be on us as we continue to conduct your business and do your work. Thank you for our teachers and our officers and our administration. Just pray your hand of safety you'll keep us all safe and help us to have a great school year. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Ms. Vernon, if you'd call the roll, please.
Steve Ward.
Here.
Sherry Tolbert. Jason Daniel.
Here.
Kim DeShazo.
Here.
Kathy Brown.
Here.
Thank you. I want to welcome all the visitors here this afternoon. At this time, hopefully you've had an opportunity to look at the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion accepted. This time, Lisa Bright, Councilor Bright.
Yes, thank you so much. Glad to be here. School's back in session, isn't it? Wanted to update you on a quick city update. So we will be having our workshop and council combination this Thursday beginning at 5 p.m. if anyone from the school board is coming. And immediately following will be council. So because there's something going on the next Tuesday night, I think it's the election. So we did bump that up to Thursday night, so workshop and council. Been doing a lot of work on our finances. As you know, we have some making up to do, but we've done an excellent job with our new finance director. We will finish the year out with an estimated of $785 in reserves, and then also paid off over $9 million in debt, and a $6.5 million will go in our reserves as also. So those are all good things leading in our direction. For the city. We are also working on budgets for next year. We did something at this last meeting that we've never done before. One of these things were early retirement. We've never offered that for our city employees, so that's one more way that we're working on our finances. So excited to see that we can offer benefits for people that are qualified to do early retirement. We also Danny, I'm sorry you're here. We joined in the lawsuit with the city of Tuscaloosa for the SSUT tax. So we're just trying to be proactive in that is hurting our city for revenue. Sales tax is about 64% of our budget. So just joining in that lawsuit, and I know we're going to be able to work with our legislature and hopefully get that straightened out very soon. Also, we have chamber on this Thursday at the Civic Center. If you would like to come, just call the chamber office. And then, of course, next Tuesday is election day. No matter who you vote for, get out and vote. It's very important. Polls are open from 7 to 7. If you have any question of where you're supposed to vote, we've added 2 new precincts, so just reach out to me or Dan Weinrib, or anyone can help you with that. So thank you.
Thank you. Also, I'd like to recognize State Representative Danny Garrett. Danny, Mr. Garrett, good to have you with us. This time, Dr. Martin, recognitions.
All right, good evening, everyone. We have several recognitions that we'd like to go through tonight. The first of which, let's see here, Mandy McIntosh. I know you're in the audience. If you would come forward, please, and if Ms. Tyner, you would please join her. The Alabama School Counseling Program of Distinction is a recognition awarded by the Alabama School Counselors Association to school counseling programs that demonstrate alignment with the Alabama Comprehensive Counseling and Guidance Model for public schools. This award signifies an exemplary level of implementation and data-driven approach to school counseling, and Cahaba Elementary School received that. I did ask Ms. Tyner if she would give me a quote here, and this is what Ms. Tyner said last week. Through Ms. McIntosh's leadership, Cahaba's counseling program has become one that proactively meets the needs of all stakeholders. She blends empathy and compassion with a strategic, data-driven approach to counseling that is second to none. Her background as a middle school English teacher gives her a unique connection to our teachers and students alike. Mandy is a natural leader, a trusted friend, and a unifying force for our school community. She is worthy of this tremendous honor, being named an Alabama School Counseling Program of Distinction, and I am grateful to work alongside her. So congratulations, Mandy McIntosh. Now, one thing that you may not know is that Mandy's son, Cale, just accepted a scholarship to play baseball in college, and Mandy taught him every single thing he knows. So, Mandy, congratulations. Thank you so much. April, we can do a picture? All right. If you do. All right. Mandy, thank you so much. Okay. Is that Cale? Okay. Oh, he was in traffic? Okay. Cale, would you like to come up and take a picture with your mom? I'm kidding. You don't have to. Yeah. But he was coming from baseball. But Cale, will you confirm one thing that I just said, that your mother taught you everything you know about pitching a baseball? Is that correct? Absolutely. Good answer. Good answer. Thank you for being here, Cale. And congratulations, Cale, on getting to play baseball at the next level. That's wonderful. All right. Our next recognition, actually I'm going to group these two together if we can. We have Savannah and Abigail and Parker and William. All four of them attended both boys and girls state. If the four of you would please come forward. All right, no pressure. I'm going to read something here, okay, and then I'm going to ask Representative Garrett if you would come forward and say a few words, and then I'm going to ask you each to tell us a little bit about your experience. I'm going to drag my points out here so you have a chance to think about what you're going to say, okay? So, Alabama Girls State is a week-long, fun-filled, hands-on learning opportunity for some of the best, brightest rising 12th graders in the state of Alabama. Sponsored by the American Legion Auxiliary, Girls State is one of the most respected and coveted experiential learning programs in the United States, teaching delegates about how government works at the city, county, and state levels. The 2026 session of ALA Alabama Girls State took place May 31st to June 5th on the campus of the University of Alabama. The American Legion believes that the survival of our republic rests on training our youth in the ideals and objectives of American government. Boys State is a unique summer program that does not rely on lectures and textbook scenarios, but hands-on experience and participation in a model state government. Boys State was founded to supplement the curriculum taught in high school civics classes. The program teaches that the preservation of our democracy depends on informed citizens electing responsible officials to administer our government. There are 49 out of 50 states that participate in Boys State programs. And who better to speak more about government than our Representative Dana Garrett?
Well, thank you very much. Good to be with you. Congratulations. I will tell you that a lot of people in the U.S. government and the state government have gone through the boys and girls state programs. Senator Britt, I think, was one of the, was maybe had been a governor. She was pretty. She's got a lot of potential. You know, she's doing things, but it's you learned a lot, I'm sure. Dr. Martin asked me if I just mentioned an example of maybe something that you might have learned. It's basically how you collaborate with other people. You know, when we walk into the house, I'm one of 105, and you walk on there and you realize when you walk on that floor that everybody's not like Trussville. The 105 other people deal with issues that we don't have, and vice versa. 105 House members, there's 35 senators. So one person can't do anything on their own. You have to collaborate and work together. And one example we did was this year we had a radical change in the way we're funding education in the state. We're one of 4 states that does not fund education based on student needs. We use a very archaic formula. So Senator Orr and I, who's the chair of the Budget Committee in the Senate, and I'm the chair of the Budget in the House, we work together to try to modernize Alabama's funding formula and basically shift it to student needs. The problem is that the way everybody gets money right now, nobody likes change, and everybody likes what they get right now. And what we get right now is a very complicated formula. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about it. everybody, to get any money from the state, you have to contribute 10 mills. 10 mills is a portion of your property tax. So everybody's got to put 10 mills on the table. And then the state will look at all that, and we sort of have a calculation to equalize that, and then we give the money out based on head count. The problem is a mill in Greene County might be worth $500. A mill in Mountain Brook might be worth $500,000. So when everybody puts their 10 and 10 on the table, it's already tilted like this. Plus, you've got systems like Trussville and Mountain Brook that have local money because our citizens have voted to add to that formula to give local money. Other places don't do it. So when we looked at this, if you just if you wanted to do this mathematically, you would say, we're going to take out the pot we have and just redivide it to everybody. But that's like the Robin Hood, taking from the rich, giving to the poor. Nobody wants to give up anything. So we realized, okay, we're going to leave the current formula alone. But we had saved money through our budgeting process to have an additional pot of money that we said, we're going to take this additional pot of money on top of what you get, and we're going to allocate this based upon student needs. So some systems have a lot of poverty. Some systems have a high percentage of students who don't speak English. Some students have a high percentage of students who are special education, special needs. So we said, what we'll do, you'll get what you get, but then we're going to give you additional money for these needs based on those needs. And we were still having a rough time because the poorer systems wanted more here and the richer ones, all that kind of stuff. And what we did, I said, okay, guys, look, we don't have to. Well, the options were, we have two options. We can either gut the current formula and foundation program and change that, or we can do a hybrid approach. And I said, no, we have a third option. In fact, our first option is we do nothing. And everybody just sat there. I said, we're going to do nothing. We'll just keep doing what we're doing. And the first guy who'd been the biggest resistor, well, there was a senator and on a joint committee, the biggest senator who'd been opposing this, he said, well, that's not an option. I said, okay, so now we're making somewhere. But through that collaboration, we radically changed the funding formula that's going to give additional money to all systems based on their student needs, the needs of those students, and it passed unanimously in both the House and the Senate. And that was just a way of having to work through and collaborate. So anyway, that was just an example. Is that kind of what you wanted? Yeah, but congratulations to you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, thank you, Representative Garrett. And don't go, I'm going to ask you if you'll be in a picture as well. So just to give you an idea, and I know Mr. Kirkland is going to speak to this later, but through that work, Trussville City Schools gets an additional $560,000 to support programs and gets about $350,000, $360,000 for funding for special needs programs, so our most vulnerable students. So you can sort of see, Representative Garrett talked a little bit about how the sausage is made, right? But what we see on the other end is the outcome, which is additional funds for our students, which is outstanding. So, all right, William, you're going to start. Tell us just a little bit about your experience.
Hey guys, I couldn't agree anymore with Mr. Garrett. I think everything you said was spot on. It was kind of cool to have civil discourse with people that are your age and where you live, and from rural counties and cities. I think it was pretty cool to see people need hospitals in rural counties, or people in cities already have hospitals, and it's just cool to balance out those needs. But I had a great time. I met so many friends. I'm planning a reunion with them right now with my city. A bunch of great guys, and I'm really thankful for the opportunity.
You'll stand over there, Representative.
First off, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Garrett, and with one word on how I could describe it, I'd simply say enlightening, because there you're taught, let me lower that a little bit, how intricate the governmental process actually is. People think it's far simpler than it really is, but there are so many steps, so many people doing very separate things. And really, there was no better program than to teach us of those things, really. And I would recommend it to quite literally all upcoming senior boys and girls. And overall, it was a very wonderful experience, and I'm so glad that I was able to receive it. That's all.
What Mr. Garrett said was spot on when it comes to people coming together. In the media, what we're shown is just division nonstop, and what Kay Ivey and Governor Kay Ivey and Senator Britt really talked to us about is how they work together with other people, with other sides and points of view. And it also showed how politicians aren't just far-fetched, like all off somewhere. Like they're us, they're people, and they have the same needs and cares as us. And so something that like will always stick with me, I think, for the rest of my life is how Senator Britt ran around the entire auditorium in the Moody Music Building in stilettos, 6-inch stilettos, and she's just like, guys, I'm like y'all, and just showing us that politics is real and it's active and it's living and breathing. So that's something that I learned, and I thought that was really powerful. So thank you.
Hi guys, I'm a little scared, but I'm gonna try to speak my mind here. So, Girls State was quite unlike anything I've ever experienced before. Girls State was just that. It wasn't a bunch of girls working in solitary for their own self-interest. It was women working together for a more powerful goal, and that goal was to create a better state, a better government of, our own creation, as I said. And, though we were running for positions like sheriff and governor, I feel like everybody was just so supportive, and I've never seen any environment like that quite before. Nowhere but in Girls State have I met women who have similar interests as me, but can teach me so much and are from so many different areas of the state. I mean, it was really incredible, and I think the best thing about it was probably the speakers, because we got to hear from so many amazing people, and I mean, it was just great. I can't really describe it in words. Thank you.
Wonderful, great job. All right, I'm going to have you go right there with Representative Garrett and take a picture, okay? Great job. You guys go to the front there, take a picture with Representative Garrett? Yeah. All right.
I want to say just one more thing, because they mentioned civil discourse. That's a term that we've lost. We need civil discourse. And what I want to say to you, I say this every time I get in front of people, I think you guys experienced what I'm going to tell you, is politics in Montgomery is nothing like Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is gridlock. Everything is down party lines. They can't get anything done. Over 90% of what we pass in Montgomery is bipartisan. And so we don't have that right. We have our moments on some issues, but for the most part, it's collaboration. So that's a blessing. I just want you to know we are not like D.C. That's a good thing.
Don't go anywhere, we have cameras.
We got a competitor, yeah. All right, great job. Thank you all. Representative Garrett, if you'd stay up here, we have one more recognition. Let's give them a round of applause, please. All right, from Girls and Boys State to Mary Kate Demler. Would you come forward, please, Mary Kate? You know, when you go to an Auburn or an Alabama or a UAB, you have a plethora of different majors that you can go in and different career paths that you can go in. When you go to governor's school, right, there's really only one choice. Is that correct? Is the point of going to governor's school that at some point you'll be a governor of one of our states? Was that sort of the point of that, Mary Kate?
Well, everyone got different seminars.
Okay.
I picked research science and health professions. Some
Okay.
people picked legal. Some people chose like a business or a politician route.
Okay. Well, I want to hear a little bit more about the experience, and then we'll take a picture here with Representative Garrett. But the note that I got to that this came because you had done such a good job, this came with a very, very nice scholarship for you to continue your education. Is that correct? As you share your remarks, will you share that as well? Okay. Podium's yours. Thank you, Mary Kate.
This summer, I had the privilege to attend Alabama Governor's School. It's a big congregation of people from all around the state, around 200 students who all come together, and they share common interests. They go into seminars like health professions and research science and flight school, and they train under these Sanford professionals, and they make connections. And it was just a big community of us living on the campus for 2 weeks, and I remember sitting in the opening ceremony, seeing these people come up and speak from last year, who were students last year. And they won all these awards, and I was like, that'll never be me. Like, I don't know how that could ever be me. But during my time at governor's school, I really committed myself to the process, and I really got to know my professors and was passionate about what I was learning about. And at the end of it, I did win Best Female Student, which came with a $20,000 scholarship to Sanford. Thank you. And
I just feel so privileged to have gotten the chance to go there and share that experience with y'all.
Wonderful. All right, Representative Garrett, if you take a picture as well.
I feel like I'm ad-libbing all the time. I need to give a shout out, though, to Mom, Miss Demler, who just told me that she had been a girl state in Louisiana. How about that? So.
I was a city judge.
All right. Mary Kay, congratulations. Wonderful. Thank you.
This is just another example of how bright our future is for these young people from Trussville, so thank you again for being there and doing what you've done, and to the parents, too. I want to thank you.
Okay, all right. And then one more recognition. I do want to mention, though, but before I move on to our final recognition for the evening, it's been a good year for the Dimlers. Would you agree with that? Yes. Yeah, been a good year. It's going to keep. We're going to keep on tracking, right? Mary Kate, I do have to mention that when your mom received her recognition, we did get the state superintendent here and have an all-school assembly. So, Mr. King, I don't know if we can do that for governor's school. Pep rally on Friday, so be ready, okay? Yeah, that's right. I don't know who has Eric Mackey's cell phone. Does he? All right, good. William, if you can make that happen Friday, that would be great, okay? All right, good. Well, we have recognized educators, we have recognized students. I think it's only appropriate that we recognize our Board of Education for the work that they do. A few individuals probably realize that there's a continuing education, professional development component to being a Board of Education member. So this is work that they have to continue to do every year, and they receive recognition from the Alabama Association of School Boards for that work. And so I think it goes without saying that we have I think it's been said several times over the course of these last few months, that we have a wonderful Board of Education. Jason Daniel received Level 1 recognition from AASB, Kim DeShazo and Sherry Tolbert Level 2, Kathy Brown Level 3, and Steve Ward Level 4. So if we give our Board of Education a round of applause for the good work that they do in representing us here in the community of Trussville. And Dr. Ward, that is our recognitions for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Ward. We are pleased to present the monthly financial report for the month of July. All bank accounts have been reconciled to the general ledger. The financial extract has been uploaded to the State Department with all necessary edits corrected for the month. Our total expenditures and transfer out in the general fund as of month end was 66.36% of budget, compared to 69.19% of this time last year. Ad valorem revenues are 91.94% of our budget and 3.14% higher than receipts from this time last year. However, I do expect receipts to be slightly less than budget, but pretty much right on budget. And as always, upon board approval, the monthly financial report will be made available for public viewing on our website. Any questions on that? Good. Can you lower the volume a little bit? This thing is serious tonight. Also tonight is our first public hearing of our budget. So I'd like to take a few moments and go through our proposed budget for fiscal year 25-26. The state of Alabama requires that we have 2 public hearings. Tonight is the first public hearing. Next board meeting will be our second public hearing. Also required by the state are certain handouts. They're on the table. If you didn't get one on the way in, you can get one on the way out, if you so choose. It has pertinent budget information for the system as a district as a whole, as well as each school individually. It has the budget and just data about staffing and enrollment. So if you so choose, feel free to grab that on your way out. This is our proposed budget as it stands right now. Again, we'll have another presentation next board meeting. Might change slightly, but for the most part, this is it. It is according to governmental accounting standards and State Department regulations. There are two funds, governmental fund and fiduciary fund. Within those, there are 5 fund types: general revenue fund type, special revenue, debt service, capital projects, and then expendable trust. Each month, I will present this budget in a budget to actual form to our board and made available to the public for review. So just so that everybody knows how we are performing actual to budget throughout the fiscal year. As I mentioned, there were 4 fund types within the governmental fund. The general fund type accounts for financial resources that are available except those that are required to be accounted for in another fund. The special revenue fund type accounts for financial resources that are legally restricted for a specific purpose. Debt service accounts for the accumulation of resources for the purpose of paying debt, both principal and interest. And then capital project fund type accounts for the accumulation of financial resources for major construction projects and the acquisition of facilities. The fiduciary fund type accounts for assets held by the school system in trust or as by agent. Basically, these are like your PTOs, PTAs, clubs, booster groups, where the school system is not actually in charge of the funds, but are a fiduciary agent of those funds. Again, the general fund accounts for all financial resources that are not specifically required to be accounted for in another fund. That is most of the funds that we receive. Very few are required to be legally restricted in another source of funds. We have 4 major revenue sources: state sources, federal sources, local, and just other. As you can see by this chart, our state sources are approximately 37.6% of the total 64.6%. Basically, that means our state revenues are just slightly higher than half of the revenues that go into the general fund. Our local sources are made up primarily of ad valorem taxes paid by our citizens on their houses and cars, as well as the 1-cent sales tax that our city council so nicely appropriates to us each year. So thank you for supporting the school system. Danny Garrett mentioned the foundation program in his talking earlier. The calculation and that goes into that. The start of that is the ADM, or average daily membership. It is a number that represents the number of students that we have at Trussville. It is a calculation. It's an average over 20 days after Labor Day. So the 1st of October each year, we submit our ADM numbers to the state. So this is from October of 2024. So this number serves as the basis of the calculation that derived our foundation program for this fiscal year, 25-26. And so this is a breakdown of the foundation program that we will receive for next year. We earned certain units, teacher units, principal units, counselors, librarians, and so we are required to pay their salary through this source of funds, and also their fringe benefits such as medical insurance, retirement, those type of things. Other current expense is just a pot of money that we as a school system have some degree of flexibility on how we spend that. We have always put all of our local employees that are at a school into this pot of money. So it's our bookkeepers, custodians, aides, anybody that is at a school that is not a teacher or administrator. We use this fund to pay for their salaries. Now, one thing you'll notice is, for the most part, it's either flat or decreasing, except for fringe benefits and other current expense. There's a significant increase in those pots of money. That is due to an increase in our medical insurance. Our medical insurance comes through PHIP, and their board sets a rate each year. It has not changed for, goodness, almost 20 years. Well, they finally increased it this year, so there's a big increase in fringe benefits, and you'll see increases in other state sources and local sources throughout the presentation. It's primarily due to medical insurance. I mentioned the foundation program funds certain units. We call them units. They're teachers, principals, assistant principals, counselors, librarians. For the most part, it was flat from this year to last year. We had a slight decrease in our ADM, resulted in losing 0.56 of a teacher unit. But other than that, relatively flat from this year to last. Other major state revenue sources that we receive: transportation. Again, you see there's about a 10% increase from this year to last year. That is due to the increase in medical insurance. Transportation fleet renewal, that is an allocation that we receive that funds school buses that are 10 years old or younger. You'll notice ours went down. We had some buses that they're still on route but are older than 10 years. We're working on that. We actually have 17 buses on order, 5 of which have been on order for almost 2 years now. They are over a 200-day waiting to be delivered. So hopefully by the end of the next fiscal year, all 17 will come in, and then that'll bump our fleet renewal funding back up and get some of these older buses off the road. And then we receive an allocation to fund school nurses, technology coordinator, certain capital outlay expenditures. At risk, you notice 2526 is zero. That goes into, that has been rolled into the extra funding that Representative Garrett talked about, the RAISE Act. So we're still getting money for at risk. It's just in a different source. And then career tech operation and maintenance. Our general fund expenditures by function. Instruction is $35.6 million. Again, that is well over half of the total expenditures in the general fund. Instructional expenditures are teachers, teachers' aides, instructional supplies, instructional equipment. Anything that goes on in a classroom is accounted for within the instructional function. Instructional support are the principals, assistant principals, counselors, librarians, anybody that's at a school but not in the classroom. Then operation maintenance is just simply taking care of the buildings. All of our school facilities, our guys do a phenomenal job doing that. Auxiliary, that is our child nutrition program, and transportation. I'll talk about child nutrition in a minute. Within the general fund, that is primarily transportation. As you can see, the 24-25 has a significant higher budget than the 25-26. That's because we have 17 buses on order. So I have a purchase order out there for that, just haven't come in yet. And also we have several projects that we're funding through our state advance and technology funds, which account for why operation and maintenance is higher and the capital outlay is higher. At our last board meeting, where I talked through our budget amendment for the 24-25 year, I showed this chart or similar one. So this is an analysis of our general fund across several years. The State Department of Education requires that we have 1 month's reserve. They highly recommend that we have 3 months reserve. We have been operating for the past several years with approximately 5 months reserve. So we're doing our best to stay physically sound so that if something were to happen economically or with the state funding, we would have the resources to just keep operations as normal. So we have been operating pretty much at a 5-month reserve for about the last 5 years. Our special revenue funds, again, those are resources that are legally restricted for a specific purpose. We don't have many, but we do have a few. IDEA special education and IDEA preschool. These are federal programs specifically for our special needs. Career Tech, Perkins, that is a federal allocation toward our Career Tech program. Title IV, student support, that is more at-risk type students, small allocation, and then again, child nutrition program. So these make up our federal programs that we receive. We do not receive a lot of federal program money, but these are the 5 programs that we do receive. And then, of course, our local schools, they receive money from parents, from fundraisers, from different sources, and they are required to be accounted for separately from the operating fund here at the board level, but they are required to be in our school books. So they are a special revenue fund type. Speaking of special education, I mentioned that it was a federal program. It's been mentioned several times today already with Representative Garrett that we do receive money from the state for special ed, and then we match locally some funds for special ed. So we spend approximately just under $5 million out of state funds, about $1.7 million out of local funds, and then just shy of $1 million out of federal funds. It's a federal program, but the federal government only funds 12 to 13% of the cost of the federal program. However, we have 100% of the federal restrictions that we have to comply with, even though they fund 13% of the money. About 40 to 45%, and it's never been funded at that level. Debt service, this fund type accounts for the accumulation of resources for the payment of both principal and interest. In Trussville, we have a situation, we have debt on our school books, and the city has debt on their books for us. On our school, we have 4 bond issues, a 2015 issue, which constructed Magnolia and Cahaba, that is funded with the 7 mil ad valorem tax. We have a series 2018, which funded a middle school renovation, and that is funded through the sales tax. The reason why I go in detail about that is I'll talk about it in just a second with the city. Then we have a PSCA issue both in 2018 for some smaller projects, and then 2022, which is funding about half of our C-wing construction at the high school. So on the board level, we have 4 issues totaling $32.9 million. On the city side, they take the sales tax that they appropriate to us and then fund certain issues that we have done throughout the years. The first 2 is the 2015 7 mil and the 2018 middle school renovation. The reason why those are on both is that we have a funding agreement that says if the sales tax or the 7 mil revenue is not sufficient enough to pay the debt service, then basically the board is on the hook for paying that debt service. So our auditors make us, the city's legally required to show that on their debt service. But our auditors are requiring us to show it as well because of the funding agreement. So, and then they also have the 2020 and 2014, which are actually refi issues, both of which for our high school. So on their side is $64 million, on our side was 32, but on both sides is about 23. So when you add the two up, there's about $72 million in debt service that is attributable to the Board of Education. I bring that up because it has been talked about a lot here lately in various venues, so I wanted y'all to know exactly how much debt is out there for the Board of Education. And it's not $120 million. Just saying. Okay, capital projects. This fund account is for the accumulation of financial resources to acquire or construct major capital facilities. Each year, we are required to present to the board a 5-year capital plan. This is a draft. We will present the 5-year capital plan at our September board meeting, but as of right now, this is kind of what we're working on. As you can see, we have 3 projects in process. The stadium, the softball competition field, the high school sea wing, and the stadium turf and track renovation. The softball competition field, we have a final inspection next week, so that is about to be completed. The stadium turf and track should be within the next couple of months. We should have final on that, so that's about to wrap up. Sea wing just pretty much started this summer, so it was a 18-month project. It should be done around December of 26. So we're looking forward to having Sea Wing up and running for the high school. The remaining of the projects are still in planning stages. We are looking at allocating certain funds that we receive from the state, either through the Capital Outlay PSF program or the Advanced in Technology. But those are funds that we can allocate to these smaller projects to get some of them out of the way. Those have time restraints on them, so we got to kind of spend that money quickly. So it's kind of hard to put those pots of money toward large projects that we're not ready for yet. And then just some other projects and needs that we have. We've talked about these for several years now. They're just kind of on the planning stage, TBD down the road. Some smaller athletic projects, but the main two are the middle school renovation and then at some point down the road, a new elementary school. For all of our fund sources and fund types, our total revenues, again, 4 categories, but states $39.4 million or 52.1%. So consistent across all fund types. State is just over half of our sources of funds, and local is just right behind there at 45.9%. Total expenditures, these follow the general fund real close. Went through all the categories in depth with the general fund. I won't go through that again, but again, instruction, 52.5%, instructional support, 15%, operation and maintenance, 8%. So if you look at basically the top 3, and then auxiliary, you throw that in, that's transporting kids to school and feeding kids while they're at school. And that's basically 88% of our budget is tied to providing instruction and care for kids at the school level. And board members, that's my budget hearing for this year. Obviously, we'll have one at the next board meeting, so that'll give me time to review it and see if there's anything that needs to be corrected or added before I bring it back to you in final form. Any questions?
Questions?
Not a question, but thank you for walking through it in that level of detail. As a finance guy, I could talk about this all night. That lots of people don't want to do that, but I really appreciate that level of detail. It helps explain things very well.
Thank you.
Each year you do an excellent job, and we appreciate it with your staff. It gets better and better, your presentations every year. We'll place this on the table for 30 days. Next thing we have is the consent agenda. Has everyone had an opportunity to look at that? Okay, right. Families, students, and if you'd like to stay around, stay with us, or you can stay, or you can leave, whichever you'd like to do, but we'd love to have you to stay. It gets better after this. Do I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. Dr. Martin, if you'd like to talk a little bit about
Yes, just discussion on consent agenda. As soon as he turned it over to me for consent agenda, everyone left. All right. All right, good. Mr. Bozeman, I appreciate that. Yep. There are 74 items under consent agenda, and I would like to go through every single one. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to do that. Real quick, consent agenda. We just wanted to make sure that compliments to Coach Walker. Gave him a goal this year of our game day experience there for Friday nights. He went out, and you can see there, item number 8, a new event worker staff that we're going to be working with. We are asking families this year as they enter the stadium, just as a matter of safety and security, if they would go through our open gate system. We also are pulling back just on a couple of the items that families can bring, but one change, one tweak from last Friday night to this Friday night, we will let families bring in, if they want, clear plastic water bottles. That was a request that we both received, so we're happy to do that. But kudos to him for bringing in a new group. I think that's going to save some money and also just provide that extra layer of safety and security at football games on Friday nights. Next item, just lawn care bids. Members of the board, you can see that. Item 12, did want to mention a couple of change orders. Robert Stadium, our new softball complex. I know that Mr. Kirkland mentioned this. I want to mention it as well, how excited we are to have our final inspection on Monday. So we are just about to cut the ribbon on that. We are waiting, correct, Coach Walker, on scoreboard. We're about 6 weeks out, correct, from having that done, and then we'll do a ribbon cutting on the new softball stadium. Also under consent agenda, we have a few facility use agreements that members of the board can see, as well as field trip requests, and that is everything under consent agenda.
Very good, thank you. It's time we will entertain the motion to adopt the personnel. Dr. Martin, would you like to?
Yep, just a couple of items under personnel. A few recognitions. Let's see, Dr. Poovey and her team in teaching and learning in that division have been hard at work, hiring some new staff members. We talked about this when we talked about the organization chart, but I do want to recognize Dawn Kilgore. Dawn, if you would just give a wave. Everyone knows Dawn, our new student services supervisor. Dawn has been at our alternative learning center the last couple of years, done a fantastic job, and so taking over at the ALC is Maggie Jensen. And you can see Maggie there, who's been an assistant principal at Payne for a couple of years here, and so she's going to take that baton and do great things for our students at the ALC. So I wanted to make sure I recognize the two of them. Under the personnel report, resignations, amended personnel recommendations. We have recommendation for transfer, reassignment, institute. We had a couple of individuals who were not able to make institute, so we do ask that they provide us with an excuse that the board approves. Employee extra services agreement, employment. We do have our A-plus college ready stipends, which we would like to talk about that in September, but go ahead and approve those here this month. Recommendation for leave of absence, long-term substitutes, project search, coaching supplements, contracts, and then finally, one recommendation for a schedule change. And Dr. Ward, that is the personnel report.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion to adopt personnel report.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion is carried. Do not have anyone signed up for the public participation. So at this time, we will have our next meeting on September the 15th at 5 o'clock Have a motion to adjourn. Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please stand.